Okay. People are still funneling in, but we can say some hellos. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another one of our What's New in Estateably virtual events. I'm Rain, Digital Marketing Associate here at Estateably. As always, we're very happy to have you join us today. We do have a record number of registrants, so that's super exciting. While we're waiting for people to continue funneling in, please feel free to drop in the chat what city you're joining us from today. The chat is open for everyone. I myself am joining from Ajax, Ontario in Canada. Awesome. People continue funneling in. But also, as you know, we like to start these events with a bit of an icebreaker question. I will not be asking you the very controversial question of who you're hoping wins the World Cup final this Sunday. But if your fingers end up typing that country's name and hitting enter on the chat, who am I to stop you? Wink, wink. I do, however, want to ask everyone, what's the weirdest and most interesting thing you have on your desk? I personally have, well, I don't know if it's weird or even very interesting, but it is very cute. I have this wooden sheep with like knitted wool on it. It's got a cute face. So that's what I got, and I'm interested to see what you guys have as well. Let's make sure. Oh, so many people from so many different places. Awesome, awesome. Oh, we do have a ton of people in right now, so I do think most people are here. But please do continue to drop your answers in the chat. Icebreaker question was, what's the weirdest and most most interesting thing you have on your desk? So keep typing away. But before we dive into our main content, let me just cover our housekeeping items and agenda. So we have the chat open to start and close the event, but it will be closed during the actual demonstration because during that demo, we will be using the Q&A function found at the bottom of Zoom as a parking lot for general subject matter questions. We will be managing the Q&A throughout the event in real time, maybe answer some of it live towards the end or in follow-up communications afterwards. Lastly, feel free to use the reactions at the bottom as well to make it a bit more interactive and fun. To test that, please give me a thumbs up reaction if that's all clear to you. Can I get some thumbs up? Awesome. That seems clear to me and so clear to you. We'll hop over to speakers and moderators. So for our speakers and moderators for today, we have an awesome team as usual. For those who missed the earlier bit, I'm Rain, Digital Marketing Associate here at Estateably. Now, if I can get everyone on the team to please introduce themselves and share their answers to the icebreaker question and what the weirdest or most interesting thing on your desk is, that'd be great, starting with Dahlia.
Hey everyone, I am Dahlia. I run the customer success team here at Estateably. Great to see so many of you today. I have sunglasses in my daughter's old baby sock because I couldn't find my glasses case.
That's
Off
awesome.
to you, Bianca.
Okay, how can I top that? Hi everyone, I'm Bianca, one of the product managers here at Estateably. Thank you for joining us. I love to see the answers in the chat. The interesting item on my desk today is my baguette pen, and I really wish it smelled like a fresh one. This would be a really good snack to have handy. But thanks for joining and enjoy the webinar.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marissa Shaw. I'm another one of the product managers here at Estateably. And today I can share that I have my neon pink brain. I don't know that you could see that it's actually a brain from a charity fundraiser. It's like one of those squeezy stress balls. So just always lying around.
Cool. And I'm Alex from the sales team here. And on my desk, I can't show it, it's big, but I have a record player with an Ozzy Osbourne album in it. So,
Very cool. Very awesome, you guys. Thank you. So on to our agenda. So for those of you who are new to Statably or new to this virtual event, we do take this time to cover the latest updates to the platform. But if you have a specific feature that you want to see that wasn't covered here, or if you wanted a full demo or walkthrough of the Statably platform, I'll be dropping links and emails you can reach out to on the chat as soon as the demo starts. So just keep an eye out for that. But for today, we will be touching on our improved trust statement of accounts report, new file creation experience, GIC Value-Based Entry, direct submission of VIRs to the Ontario Ministry of Finance, the ability to add opening cash balances to trust accounts, and which is coming very soon, our market value history. Then, after hearing all of your feedback in our post-webinar surveys and live polls in the past about wanting more time for questions, we will have an extended Q&A at the end, so send anything you have in mind again down on the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom. Lastly, as mentioned in your invite to this event, all attendees have been entered into our raffle drawing for a Loop and Tie gift card. The winner will be announced at the end, so don't miss out. Loop and Tie allows you to select any housewarming or eco-friendly gifts or items for yourself, or as a gift to someone else, or even donate it to a cause of your choice. Some people have gotten salad bowls, household repair toolkits, facial masks, so there's something there for everyone. Awesome. For those who have signed up to our investment statement import beta, you'll notice some of today's updates might apply to that feature too. But if you haven't signed up yet, now's your chance. I'll drop the link in the chat shortly as well. And with this feature, you'll be able to upload PDF statements and have Estateably auto-parse holdings and transactions for you. So make sure you sign up. Last thing for me before we get into the meat of things, for our Estateably accounting users, we'd love a bit of your time to help us understand how you're feeling about Estateably's accounting module. So I am going to launch a quick survey right now. Give me a second. Awesome, should be launched right now. It takes about 2 minutes and will give us insight in shaping what we build and improve next. So feel free to jump in and answer anytime before the webinar ends. It'll be up until then. Oops. Now, finally, I can hand it off to Dahlia, our Estateably expert, and get this thing going. All set, Dahlia?
Yep.
Perfect. You can go ahead and share your screen.
Wonderful. All right. So, welcome again, everyone. I am going to start off with a quick mention to our Ontario Trust users specifically. We have made some updates to the trust statement of accounts that's now available in the product. So you should see some nice improvements when you use the report. For most of you who've logged in, you might have noticed that we've made an update to how you add a new file. It looks different than what you used to do when you add a new file. So we still click on Add to New in the top right-hand corner. However, now you can see that the look is completely different and the amount of questions that we ask has also changed. So here we can select the type of file that we want to open. You always have the option of a probate-only file, an accounting-only file, or a file that includes both probate and accounting. And then here you can select where you're located. So for our Canada users, you can select Canada. For our US users, you can select the US, and then you can select the province or state that suits your needs. And then we'll be able to enter the information. So here you can enter your file name. You can enter the file number, whether it is test date, intestate, or if you want to skip uploading this area for now, you can then upload your will later on in the platform. This is not a mandatory thing to do. Your checklist refers to the task list that you'll see. And then here you have all the information about the deceased. So I'll just enter it again quickly. And then I'll enter my date of death. And when I click on next, you'll notice I'm taken now to the final screen. So we've cut out a lot of the information that we're collecting here to make your file setup easier. In your file, you will see payment details here, confirming the amount that you're going to be paying for the file. And then you can go ahead and click on Create File to go ahead and create your file. All right. Next on our list today is about our GIC value-based entry. So for anyone who is a more seasoned user, oops, that's the wrong file. You might remember that you had to enter GICs with a quantity as well as a value. This caused a workaround, and so we've now fixed this. In our accounting section, within our accounts here, we can click on View Holdings, and I'm going to go ahead and add a holding. I'll then be able to select Fixed Income and then GIC, and you'll notice now that I have no quantity that I have to enter. I'll be able to enter the type of the GIC here that I want to enter, the book value, put $200, the date of the transaction. I can also enter whether it was a date of death asset, or in the case of a trust, a funding asset. I'll put the date that this was purchased, and then I can put the description of whatever the purchase entailed. Now I can click on save, and you'll see that my GIC is there with no quantity and the total value. When it comes time to realize my GIC, I'll then be able to enter the date that it's being liquidated, the account it's being liquidated to, as usual. And again, all I'll have to do here is enter the total value. So it could be a partial redemption or it could be a total redemption. In terms of a partial redemption, I can simply enter 100, click on save, and then you'll notice that my value has gone down and you can see the amount remaining. In my transaction, you'll then see my GIC transaction. All right, the next portion is directed specifically at our Ontario users. So this week we launched the direct ability from the platform to submit an estate information return. So you still have the ability in the forms and letters section to generate an estate information return. So you'll still see that, oops, it's there. Forgive the environment here. It is a demo environment. We don't want to submit estate information returns directly to the ministry. So you're seeing an up and coming feature in the forms and letters. So to come. But when I click on estate information return here, you'll notice here that it's going to pull in all the information that I've entered within the intake, the contacts, and the inventory. You'll also note that I have two fields that need attention. This means that there's information that's missing in the system. So before you can proceed, you're going to have to go ahead and fill in that missing information. So if I scroll down, you'll see that my deceased information is in red because I'm missing a date of birth. So if I click on edit, it will take me to the intake where I'll have to go in and fill the date of birth. So I'll go ahead and fill it now and click on update. Now that the information is saved, I can go back to my EIR submission and you'll see that now only one field needs my attention. I'll scroll back down. Oh, and I notice that my representative information is missing a phone number. So I can click on edit. It will take me to the contacts. I'll click into the executor that I've added here. I'll go ahead and add a phone number. Click on save. And then if I go back to my EIR submission, you'll notice that everything is complete. So I'll scroll through. If I had multiple representatives, they would be listed. I also have the different assets that I've added here, so they pull in directly from the inventory section. You then have a few questions to answer here, so whether it's an amended return or not, if there is a deposit amount applicable, your preferred language of communication, if you want the ministry to email you specifically the confirmation along with your client, then you can click off this box. If you don't click off this box, you won't get a confirmation email that the ministry received this. You then have the payment information over here to calculate the tax payable, if there is anything. You have the ability to upload supporting documents if you like, and then you can go ahead and submit your EIR. It will take you to this page where it says submission scheduled. Once the submission is done, this page will say submission sent. That usually takes about 24 hours to happen. One amazing thing to note here is generally, when you submit an EIR by paper, you have to get your executors to sign it, but submitting online doesn't require a signature anymore. So it's one less step for you in the process. All right, so moving on to our trust account. We are going to go through the ability to add opening balances. Before, we weren't able to add an opening balance directly to an account. So you'll see I've added my account here. There's no value to it. But if I click on edit or when I click on add new, you'll notice if you scroll all the way down, I have the ability to add an opening balance here for my account. So this is useful if you're taking over a trust, for instance, and there was an opening cash balance from the previous period. You can enter that cash balance here to ensure that your trust is going to start at the correct value. Or if the account was opened with a specific value, perhaps there was an account that was transferred from an estate to a trust and it had money within it, so you could put that value here. If the account is opened with nothing, if there's no value at all, you don't have to put 0, you can simply leave this blank. If there is a value, as we've discussed, then you can enter it here, click on save, And then my opening value will show in my transactions as $500. This works the same way for both a bank account as well as an investment account. And finally, our market value history feature. So right now in Estateably, when you enter a holding, you can update the market value. However, we don't keep the history of that market value, which means if you're generating a report for a specific period, then the market value that Estateably is going to use is the last market value that was entered in Estateably. Now we've given you the option to update the market value as needed. And when you pull a report for a specific period, Estateably will then be able to reference the market value based on that specific period that you're holding. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this. It can be done both manually and through the statement import feature that Rain mentioned earlier that is in our beta right now. So again, we're going to click on our investment account and then click on View Holdings. When I add a holding here, we can go ahead and let's say it's a stock. I'm going to choose Costco. When I enter my quantity of shares, I have my market value and I have my, if it's a funding asset or date of death asset, I can put in the book value. So for this purpose, I'm going to do that. We then have this valuation date here. So this is where you can enter the date, the last value of the holding or of an asset. And I'll show you the assets in a moment. So this was pulled from the stock market as of today. However, if I wanted to put it in as the market price for, excuse me, for the funding date, I'll go ahead and put, $1,200 right here. And, oh, sorry, that's in US dollars. Forgive me. I'm in a Canadian account, so I'm converting US to Canadian. For our US users, you wouldn't have this conversion rate. This is what Canadians see, or what you would see if you are adding a holding in a different currency. We automatically do the conversion to the currency that you've opened up your file within. I can then put the funding date, so I'm going to put it as of the start here. And then I'll start off this holding at the same value that I entered my funding asset. So I'm going to start off here and I'm going to put my funding date. I'm going to put my market value date. Okay, so now I'm going to click on save. You'll then see that I have this market value as of January 1st, 2026. When I click on this arrow, I have now two tabs at the top. My holding details, where I can see everything that's happened in my holding, as well as market value history. So I can see the different valuations. If I want to add a new valuation here, I'll be able to put the valuation date. So let's call it, now I want to go into February. And then I'm going to say the new valuation for my holding. So in February, unfortunately, it went down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save. And then you'll see my new entry right over here. This means when I pull my report, if I were to pull my report just for the month of January, my value of January will show. If I pull it in February, my February value will show. Now, talking about the statement import. So in a statement import, you have the ability to import monthly statements. The market value is automatically updated. However, we weren't capturing here the market value. Now, every time you add a new statement, your market value will show in the same screen that I showed you after import. For those of you who've never seen the statement import, it's in the tab up here. You have the ability to click on Upload Statement. You'll then be able to upload the first statement or any subsequent statements after, select the account it's going into, review the holdings as well as the transactions, and import everything directly into your account. You can then see the assets, all of the holdings in the account, and then any transaction that happened within it. Now, talking about assets, we also can track market value history on an asset. So if I click on Add New, and I want to track the market value history on a property, let's just say. So here I'm going to go ahead and say, again, this is a funding asset. Again, for an estate, it's a date of death asset. And I'll go ahead and put my, 2026-0101, and I'll put the value And then you'll see here that we have our valuation date. So my market value is going to be the same thing as my funding value because I haven't gotten a new valuation yet. So I'm going to go 2026-0101 and I'll click on save. Now you'll see that this is my value as of January 1st, 2026. Now let's just say midway through the year I got a valuation. So I'll click on the three dots, view market value history, and then click on add new valuation. Here, I got a valuation in June. So I'll put the new valuation of my property. Lucky for my clients, it went up in value. So I'll be able to input the new value here and click on save. You'll then be able to see here the updated market value. Now, in our reports, it will show based on the period that I have selected. So I'll show two different reports, the statement of accounts for our Canadian users, as well as the national standard for our US users. If you are in a state that has a state-specific report, like North Carolina, Florida, California, for instance, this change has been applied to those reports as well. And we'd be happy to look at it on a call with you once this is available in the coming weeks, if you have any questions about it. So first we'll go our statement of accounts. I'm going to do my period just from January so you can see the value. So 2026-0131. And I'll click on generate. And then I'll do the same thing with the national standard so you can see the difference in the values. All right, just waiting. Here we go, my report. Okay, I'll just make it slightly bigger here. So we can see here our assets on hand at the beginning of the period. We have our property. And if we go to the assets on hand at the end of the period, you will see the same value because it was only changed at the beginning of February. Now, if I were to pull the report for the next period, that's where you would see the difference. Now, the national standard, I'll pull the report for the next period just to give us a different view on what it looks like. Period end here. We have 02, 01, 02, 28, and click on generate. And now we can see the value at the beginning of the period here. And if we go to the assets on hand at the end of the period, where did it go?
Your next valuation, I think, Dahlia, was in June. I think you had done it at the beginning of June.
Yes, you're right. I'm so
And I think you're
sorry.
running the report for February.
I appreciate that, Marissa. Thank you so much. In June, here we go. That is why I didn't see anything. June, I'll do it for July 1st. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry, everyone. So here we go. For the beginning here again, we see our beginnings, and then at the end, we will see the updated value based on how we entered it. And that is everything I had to present today, and I would love to answer some of the questions that have come in.
Yeah, thank you for the awesome presentation and walkthrough, Dahlia. I'm just going to share my screen to make it officially clear that we're entering the live Q&A portion of this webinar. So please continue to send in all your questions about what you've seen today onto the Q&A function at the bottom, and we'll try to go through most, if not all of them. Otherwise, we will follow up with you through email after this event. So I will hand it off to Bianca to read through the questions everyone has put in. And Dahlia, just let me know if you need to take over the screen sharing to show something.
No
Okay,
problem.
awesome. Let's get started. So one of the first questions from A. Lee, I'm in the US. Is GIC the same as CD?
Yes, so GIC functions in the same way for both the US and Canada in the way that I showed as a value-based holding. So either entering it manually or through import will pick up the value. There will be no quantity and you'll be able to liquidate fully or partially as I showed.
Awesome. Perfect. Next, we have a question from Jennifer. The EIR is a sworn statement. How is this being signed and submitted? Alex answered, mentioning that the way we have it set up with the ministry, a signature is not required. However, a follow-up question from Jennifer, to be clear, all we need to do is submit the authorization that is signed by the client, which authorizes the filing on their behalf, and then we don't need to have the EIR signed.
So when you use the EIR online, there is no need for a signature. That is correct. Yeah, the ministry accepts it without the signature.
Yeah, perfect. So Jennifer, hope that covers your question. Next, we have a question from Rhonda. When we submit the EIR through the online portal via the Ontario Online Services site, we would normally, I think it's the same question actually, we would normally include a signed authorized representative form, assuming we do not require any of this submitting it through Estateably.
So no, we don't require it. If you wanted to submit it as an attachment, as something extra, you're always welcome to, but it is absolutely not required to submit it when you're using the online submission through Estateably.
Okay, perfect. There are a few more questions coming in. We did not mark them as the questions that will be answered live, but I can go through them. We have a question from Sheldon. Can I calculate the executor fee in a probate only file?
No, you must open a file to include accounting to be able to calculate executor's fee. And that's because we calculate executor's fee on, receipts and disbursements that have come into the file. And if you haven't recorded anything, which you can't in a probate only file, then we're not able to calculate any type of executor's fee.
Okay, perfect. Next, let's look at the question from Monica. When will the proposed distribution option be available for a TA? I believe that option is available for a probate.
You're right, Monica. It is available in the estate section, and it's something that we have heard from many other trust users. So it is on our radar and hopefully something that we'll be building out soon for trusts. We can keep you posted with timing once we have a better idea.
Okay. Let's move on. Thank you everybody for the questions. We have one from Dominic. If you are entering an asset for the inventory and support with an application for grant of probate, can you upload the investment statement and have Estateably populate the inventory? For example, does this feature work if you aren't doing an accounting through Estateably?
So the import feature works if you're not doing an accounting in that it will upload the date of death holdings specifically. However, it does not import your inventory. So if you were hoping that it would import your accounts, or if you have a statement of your inventory with a property or anything like that, it does not automatically create those specific assets. It's built specifically to only pull in assets within an investment statement or transactions within an investment or a bank statement.
Perfect. Okay, I believe that covers the questions that, no, never mind. How do we record our legal fees for the actual estate admin?
So legal fees could be recorded as a holdback. So you could put that in as a liability. There is a selection that you can choose for legal fees. You could also enter that just as a transaction that's coming out of the account, when it's paid. So I guess it really just depends on how you need it to show and what's actually happened.
Perfect. Perfect. Let's see, any other questions coming in? Not yet, no? Let's take a look at other questions that we've had other users ask. For example, for the trust task reports, is there a way to only show tasks with no due date or exclude them entirely?
Can you repeat that?
Is there a way to only show tasks with no due date or exclude them entirely?
On the task report?
Yes.
On a task report, yes, you can show any type of tasks that you want. So it could be, you can customize the report however you want to show it. You can show completed tasks, you can show outstanding tasks, the full list, anything that has a due date, anything that doesn't have a due date. And we've really made it so that you can customize it however you need.
Perfect. Okay. And if you want to emphasize something for the EIR submission, what happens if you need to correct information after submitting? Do you have to start over in the ministry portal, in the portal? Excuse me.
So that's a really good question. I think I'm going to reshare my screen just to show you that. Rain, would you mind if I share my screen, please? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so here I am in my EIR submission. What you'll notice here is once the submission is done, you can go ahead here and click on, oops, not resubmit, resubmit, and then make your updates as needed. To say if this has already been submitted, you can say yes. And then you have additional details here that you can enter with the amended information that you can then resubmit and not have to make a completely new one. So this will then be attached to the same initial file that you had originally submitted.
Perfect. I see there's a question from Lisa. I think Marissa's answering that question. Another one, can you do a quick demo on connecting between probate and accounting file? How we go through marking them, managing and connecting transactions.
So I interpret that question as adding on accounting to a probate file. So absolutely, I can go ahead and show you how to do that. So in my file here, I'll take the one that I had added for our demo to begin with. So I'm going to create the file. This was a probate only file. So here, sorry, my screen glitched for a moment. Here. So here you can see my file type is probate only. So if I were to go to my inventory section and click on transactions, you'll see I have to upgrade this file. So I'll be able to click on upgrade this file and I'll then be able to update it. I'm not able to show you that in our demo account just because it's not connected to a credit card, but here you'd just be able to click on update your file now, and then you'd get access to the accounting. Once you then have access to the accounting, you're able to go ahead and add your transactions and do whatever you need for your accounting purposes. To whoever this question is for, if you need a little walkthrough on how to do that and start your accounting, if you're newer to this, we'd be happy to set up some time to walk you through that, and maybe we can send a link in the chat to be able to do that as well.
Another question from Dominic. How much more does it cost to add the accounting to a probate application?
So the probate application itself is $149 for the probate file. And then to add on the accounting, it's an extra two something. It comes to a total of $399 for the file.
Perfect.
$250. Sorry, I blanked there for a moment.
All right, so we answered that one live as well. Anything else coming in? Let's see. Yes, we have one from Taya. Regarding the ER submission, you mentioned that Estateably doesn't require the authorization to be uploaded. However, has your team confirmed with the ministry that the authorization is not necessary for submissions through Estateably?
Yes, so Taya, we actually worked directly with the ministry to create this online submission. And according to them, with their specific requirements, we've checked multiple times, it is not something that is required to do.
Perfect. So that's done as well. Another question around the reports. It may not necessarily be applicable to everybody in the webinar now, but can the task report be generated in different languages, for example, French? Do we have that ability?
We don't have the ability to generate reports in different languages at the moment. It is really just one language right now. It would be
Perfect.
a customized report if you needed it in a different language.
Perfect. A question from Victoria. Is the submission of the ER available for probate-only files?
Yes, absolutely. It is available for probate-only files. You should see it underneath the document section within your estate file.
Perfect. Okay. There's Victoria. Okay, Marissa's handling Lisa. All right, another question around the market value history. If a user doesn't add a market value for a specific report date, what number shows up on the report?
So if you don't, let's say I'm pulling the report for the first quarter, and the last value that I've entered in the system is February as opposed to March, then the February value is the last value that's going to be able to show on the report. You can then go in and update it whenever you need, as I showed you.
Perfect. Okay, another one coming in from Elliot. How about digital assets like Bitcoin? How can that be recorded in Estateably?
So a digital asset like Bitcoin can be added as its own asset within the assets tab if it's held on its own. It could also be added as an investment within an investment account. So I can't remember the exact asset class that you need to check, but I believe there is one that encompasses Bitcoin. And if there's not, you can always select other and then record it in that way.
Perfect. Okay. And I'm not sure, Natalie's question, I see maybe Alex is taking care of that. What are the steps to do that? I'm not sure exactly which steps we are referring to. Let's see. What else? Let's see.
Well, just coming in with a quick time check. We have time for maybe another one or two questions if anyone wants to come through. Otherwise, we can move on to the next portion. Give it a moment. Awesome. Doesn't seem like we have anything else. Okay, let me just go back to sharing my screen. Okay, I think that does close it. So thank you, Bianca and Dahlia and everyone who put in their questions for our Q&A. If we didn't touch on your question, don't worry, we will follow up with it after the webinar, or if you have any other follow-up questions afterwards, you're always welcome to reach out to support@estateably.com at any time. But now, actually, wait, let me double check. Let me unshare and reshare because I want to make sure my sound is on for this portion. There you go. Okay, now it is time to announce our raffle winner for today. I just want to make sure I open the chat for everyone. Oh, sorry, one second. I lost my screen there. Give me a moment. Okay, I just made sure that the chat is now open for everyone if anyone wants to join me in congratulating the winner. Now let me just play the drum roll. So, congratulations to Vic Dirksen. You have won a $100 Loop and Tie gift card. So keep an eye out on your email and we'll send you details on how you can claim your gift. So that does wrap up our webinar. The recording of this will be distributed soon after, so you can rewatch or feel free to share it with your colleagues, along with all of the links that I had shared in the chat over there. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We appreciate you making the time in your Thursday to check out what's new. So have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So much. We will follow up. Thank you.